Good day everyone, I am Jonalyn N. Sarigumba. So today I will answering the following question. First question is, why theory is important in the application of the study of motor skills includes motor control and learning? Theory is important in the application of the study of motor skills including motor control and learning because it helps us to understand how skill being performed. It is also help us to know what the muscles involved for us to create a coordinated movement. It enables the development of a new motor skill. It is required for developing controlled movement and calibrating simple movements like reflexes, and it often entails enhancing the smoothness and precision of movements. Motor learning necessitates practice, feedback, and understanding of outcomes. Question number 2. Explain how far you understand information processing model. You can state example or demonstrate your example. Cognitive psychologists utilize the information processing model as a framework to explain and characterize mental processes. The model compares the cognitive process to that of a machine. The human mind, like a computer, takes in information, organize it, and store it for later retrieval. So it has 4 cycles, and those are input, decision making, output, and feedback. Input. The performer will receive lots of information about the environment they are performing in from their senses. This information is then sent to where the performer must select the relevant information. Number 2, decision making. The information is analyzed to perform. The performer will attempt to select the appropriate response. A performer will access memories of similar experiences to inform their choice of response. Information is stored in the short-term memory to start with. It can store pieces of information for up to 60 seconds. Information that is repeated is stored in the long-term memory if unlimited capacity to hold information for long period of time. Experienced performers will have more relevant information to draw from than a beginner. So number 3 is output. Decision is acted upon. Information is sent from the brain to the muscles to carry out the response. Number 4, feedback. Information received completed the response. This can be used as the input for future decision. The performer can receive this in 2 ways. So, then, there are 2 kinds of feedback. Intrinsic feedback, feedback coming from yourself or the self-satisfaction. And number 2 is extrinsic feedback, feedback coming from your coach, trainer, and teacher. So, first is input. Siya ang nag-store ng relevant information sa isang specific skills like spiking in volleyball. For example, ang player nanonood ng PBL, nakita niya si Eliza Valdez kung paano mag-spike, so it will store it in his memory. Depende kung gagamitin niya always sa laro niya, ma-store ito sa long-term memory. Pero kung hindi naman or hindi niya gusto ang style na yun, mapupunta ito sa short-term memory kung saan malilimutan niya kaagad. Next sa input, we have decision making. Ito ang magde-decide kung ano ba dapat na skill ang gagamitin. Like kung marami na masyado ang skill na na-stored sa input, siya ang pipili kung saan ba doon ang madali o hasana ang player na gamitin para masiguro niya na maging successful ang skill na gagawin. Next is output. Siya yung gagawa ng movement na napili ni decision making. Siya yung magte-take ng action towards the given information. So, si feedback papasok kapag natapos ni output yung task niya kapag nakita ni feedback yung kinalabasan ng movement. Example is, nakita niya na nain yung bola sa opponent court. Naging maganda ang result dahil sa okay yung information na binigay at nagustuhan ni feedback. Ibabalik niya yun kay input, tas si input, i-store niya ulit yun para magamit na naman sa susunod kung kailangan ang information. And the cycle is continue and so on. Question number 3. Give one example skill you can explain or demonstrate of a closed-loop system of information processing in relation to its definition. Assess the relative strengths and weaknesses of a closed-loop system to your given example. So, closed-loop system is an automatic control system in which an operation process or mechanism is regulated by feedback. For example, in football, if a performer needs to change direction while controlling a ball in football, they will need to be consciously thinking about it, and they will need to be taking note of the environment. They will therefore be using level 3 control. Question number 4. Give one example skill you can explain or demonstrate of an open loop system of information processing in relation to its definition. Assess the relative strengths and weaknesses of an open loop system to your given example. So, an open loop system, also known as a non-feedback system, is a continuous control system in which the output signal has no influence or effect on the input signal's control action. In other words, the output of an open-loop control system is not measured or feedback for comparison with the input. For example, when throwing a dart, once the performer has begun performing, the skill there is nothing they can do to adjust it because the movement is too fast. Question number 5. Explain how far you understand movement constraint in dynamical system theory as much as possible. Please give example. You can explain or much better demonstrate your example. There are 3 categories of movement constraints in dynamical system theory. First is task, second organism, third is environment. So first is task. Constraints on human movement imposed by the task performed, including task goals, equipment use, and mandated rules and procedures. So the example of this is free throw in basketball. With and without the ball, there is a differences. In executing free throw without the ball, it does not require more force. But in free throw with a ball, it needs more force. And the most important thing, you execute it properly. So next is organismic or individual constraint. Characteristic of an individual that act as constraint on movement, including structural characteristics such as height, weight, and body shape, as well as functional characteristics such as intelligence, motivation, and psychological states. So the example of this is weightlifting. In lifting the barbell, the player should be on balanced position, and the body structure will be in good posture. Strong force is needed in lifting the barbell. So next is environmental constraint. Feature of the physical environmental such as gravity, temperature, and light that act to constrain movement patterns also includes social features such as cultural norms that constrain movement behaviors. So the example of this is free throw in basketball. In the game scenario, there is a possibility that you may not focus on the goal because of the pressure you feel from the audience, and also from your opponent. You may hear some cheers and shout out that would interrupt you. So, and all 3 can also act together to impose new forms of constraint.